Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live. I'm your man Bailey, aka Mr. Go Get 'em. And tonight we actually don't have a guest. Guest canceled. But cool, cause it actually gives me the chance to have a show that I've been planning for some time. So first and foremost, what I'm gonna do is I'm turning the phone line on actually early. Yes. The phones are coming on early because we are going to get into some real conversations tonight. So, as you guys see, the title of this one is Men versus Women. What changed? And, yeah. Very curious of how we got to where we are at today when it comes to the male and female dynamics, the relationship dynamics, the things that we are currently going through. Now, I know quite often throughout the show, you guys have labeled me multiple things, right? But if you actually set your ass back and learned something and paid attention, you would actually see that 99.9% of the shit that I talk about is in reference into potentially helping, if not changing, the current world that we in, dating dynamics, the men versus women dynamic, because whether we like it or not, it is horrible. And the only way that it changes is if we change it. So we are the ones that dictate what this is going to be. And if we don't change the way this shit is, well, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I personally don't want that for my sons and daughter. So let me fix this mic a little bit. Let's get this to where I ain't gotta touch it. So what I've done is I have actually brought up some pages here. I've Googled quite a few things. I'm going over a couple of things and we're gonna have this conversation. So if you want to join in the conversation, 602-736 6660 602-736-6660. That is actually the number if you want to call in and join this conversation. It is men versus women. What changed? Gladly will take your 2 cents on this one. So before we move forward, let me go ahead and pull me this way. Okay. So we're going to throw me like right there. That should be good. That should be good. And then let's go ahead and hit that right there. And go to tab number 1. Okay. So, yeah, that's probably not going to be a good spot for me. So, let's move us over to this corner right here. We can shrink me down. I don't need to be huge. Okay. So, one of the first things that I pulled up is arranged marriage dates. Okay. So whether we like it or not, we live in a world where at one point in time, we did have this thing called arranged marriages. And when we had arranged marriages, whether we like it or not, guess what? It actually worked. Believe it or not, it actually worked. As a matter of fact, today's divorce rate for arranged marriages is only 4%. Right here in the United States of America, arranged marriages only fail 4% of the time. Now, you're probably like, why are you bringing up arranged marriages? Well, I'm bringing up arranged marriages just for this particular reason. In the world that we live in today, at one point in time, the way this country and many other countries worked out was due to arranged marriages. Because they were arranged marriages, your parents actually chose who you would deal with, who was your husband and who was your wife. Your parents did that. Now, in modern day society, we hate to call out the fact that our parents seem to know everything about dating and who we should date or who we should be with, etc. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this right here proves it. Even today, where the U.S. divorce rate hovers around 40 to 50%, divorce rate for arranged marriages is still only 4%. Now, we would ask the question of why is that? Well, see, when you remove your personal choice out of it, your parents, 9 times out of 10, are going to choose who is best for you. Not because they're tall, not because they got a big ass D, not because they make 6 figures, but because they are the best. See, your parents want to watch you be with someone that is actually good for you and potentially going to take care of you. Your parents want what is best for you. So when your parents want what's best for you, if it was an arranged marriage, an arranged situation, well, just gonna call a spade a spade. They're not gonna pull any BS. They're going to put the person in your life that they feel would be the best match. Up until where we are today, all marriages, for the most part, were actually arranged. Our parents chose who we were with, and it worked out. As a matter of fact, those marriages lasted a whole lot longer than what we're currently seeing today. So again, the question is men versus women and what changed? Well, this is one of the things that actually changed. One of the things that changed was arranged marriages. We no longer currently have arranged marriages. Men and women get to choose who they want to be with, regardless of the situation, regardless of what happens. And let's just be honest, do we always make the best choice? Well, according to this study, not even close. Not even close. So we have to then kind of ask ourselves, do we truly know what is best for us? Now, it's not only do we know what's best for us, but maybe we also need to question, do we know what we're actually looking for or who we're looking for? And did our parents teach us what would actually be best for us? I know a lot of people are going to have a lot to say, but I'm just going to I'll be the bearer of bad news and say, no, we don't. Parents aren't raising husbands and wives today. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest issue of dating here in 2023. Okay? Again, 602-736-6660. Go ahead and call in if you want to join the conversation. You can also chat in. It is wide open. Tonight is definitely a different night. We're talking men versus women and what changed. So, let's go into number 2. Okay. Current divorce rate. Well, current divorce rate, 50%. All marriage in the United States will end in divorce or separation. 7 researchers estimate 41% of all first marriages end in divorce. Okay? Now, this does come with a caveat because there is second and third divorce rates that are also lumped in here. Okay? And those numbers are astronomical. When you look at second and third divorce rates, you're going to like 60 to 80%. Okay, according to American Psychological, so the APA, 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce. The divorce rate for second marriage is even higher, with it 60 to 67, and second marriages ending in divorce. Okay, this is where me personally, I kind of have a little bit of an issue, right? So let's say I myself, who has never been married and dealing with a first time, I got 40 to 50% stacked up against me. But let's say the person that I choose has already been married before. This is 60 to 67%. So that actually increases this. Okay, when you increase that, that makes looking at marriage a little bit harder. If they're on their third marriage, it actually is above 70 to 83%, somewhere along those lines. So I'm already in this range, and you're doing this range. And well, as a man, especially as a father, when you have something to lose, and that something to lose is everything that I've worked for my children, it makes looking at marriage hard to do. It makes it very hard to do. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going to get married, but what I'm saying is I am definitely paying attention to the statistics. And I know people are like, well, why would you do that? Like, you dictate. Yeah, I do dictate my future a lot. But unfortunately, numbers don't lie. And I'm going to live in reality. And the reality of the fact is, when you're married, it involves two people, not one. I'm not going to be in it by myself. And that's what could change the outcome of that situation. So I can dictate what I do. I can't dictate what someone else does. Okay? All right. So what has changed? Again, this is men versus women. What changed? Well, this has changed. Marriage, first time around, you're looking at closer to 50% than 40% of it not making it. So you're taking a 50-50 chance and whether or not you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone. Okay? I think that a lot of we are getting smarter in some ways. And as we do get smarter, well, we look at this. And let's just say 50% of our parents, we watch them get divorced. And divorce is not a beautiful thing. It is very nasty. And you see one parent get dragged through the dirt while the other parent gets extremely hurt. And that takes a toll on children. So when children see what divorce is and then grow up and become adults and hear of things like this, it is going to make them very gun shy when it comes to terms of let's go get married. It makes it harder to make the decision to just jump out there and say, hey, I want to say I do. All right. Marriage today also has become less about duty and love and tradition, and it has become so much more about money and the come up and, well, dragging that other person through the mud to get what benefits you the most. So this is number 2. And some of the things that I got to talk about, again, 602-736-6660. If you want to, by all means, go ahead, call in, join the conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through these things rather quickly before I kind of give my own take on what I feel like is going on between men and women in the world that we live in today, why there are such differences and discrepancies, why marriages have fallen, childbirth has fallen, etc. Bullet point number 3. Okay. Marriage rate in the U.S., 34 for every 1,000 people. Okay. 34 tied the knot for every 1,000 people. Okay. And this is the crazy part. They're happy because it's pre-pandemic levels. That's not good. pre-pandemic levels. For every 1,000 unmarried adults in 2022, 34 tied the knot. Imagine this. No, I guess there's no need to imagine. You're divorcing at this rate, right? You're getting married at this rate. Marriage is extremely low, and you're still divorcing at the same rate. Why? We have to ask ourselves, why is divorce so prevalent? And we're going back to number one. Arranged marriage is 4% in divorce. 4%. Okay? Why is it now that we get to choose who we spend the rest of our lives with? We get it so wrong. How are we getting this so wrong? Like, we have to, what are we looking for? What determines whether or not we spend our lives, the rest of our lives, with someone? How is this going so horribly wrong? Okay? Now this is where we really get into the men versus women portion, because this next one's crazy. To prohibit discrimination on account of sex, sex in the payment of wages by employers engaged in commerce or in the production of goods or commerce. See, this is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, signed by JFK, 1963. I want to say June something, 1963. Pretty sure I'm right on that. Okay, equal pay, equal pay. It's 1963 that equal pay was put in place for men and women all across the board. Okay? Men and women all across the board got equal pay back in June of 1963. Now, I'm doing this for the reason of a lot of the reasons that men and women fight, argue, go at each other quite often, because they bring up what's next, which is the wage gap. The gender wage gap is defined as the difference between median earnings of women relative to median earnings of men. Data refer to full-time employees. The gender wage gap is defined as the difference between median earnings of men and women relative to median earnings of men. Data refer to full-time employees on one hand and to self-employed on the other. Now, this is something that I personally had never paid attention to. And this changes things quite often. Here are 6 charts showing why it is not much of a celebration in 2023. Women are earning 77 cents for every dollar earned by white men. The gender pay gap has barely budged in 20 years. Now, I highlight this part because this is not all men. This is white men. So you're not averaging out against all men in the U.S. You're averaging this out for the top earner of men in the U.S. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Women are earning 77 cents for every dollar earned by white men. Now, we can go and do this nice little history lesson on the white man's earning versus everyone else. And you're going to find out very, very quickly how high this demographic is amongst the others. That is definitely going to create a pay gap, a wage gap. Because when you look at the majority of U.S. millionaires and billionaires, it is 100% based on this. Now, there's a couple of demographics that are always missing out of this pay gap, just due to the fact that some different some different jobs that are there that are untaxable. So escorts, our lovely prostitution will never be in there. Unfortunately, none of these jobs do you pay taxes on. And most people don't pay taxes on their OF. They get out of ways of doing the OF. So these are going to be for taxable earnings. Taxable earnings. And in reality, a lot of this number here is not taxable earnings, so to say. But again, 77 cents for every dollar earned compared to white men. That is definitely going to skew the number. I'll 100% take a woman's side in that because I know no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a skewed number. They are literally putting that up against the creme de la creme of the wage earners. That is actually the first time that I've seen this in all of the wage gaps. This is the first time where it actually has pointed out the demographic that it is going against, because one of the main ones that I look at is all men versus all women. And actually women are up by 3 cents. So all men versus all women, women are actually earning $1.03 compared to the man's dollar when you do all men versus all women. But we're going to go with this one. We're going to go with this one starting here. Because why? This within itself, if a woman were to Google this and see this offer up and not do any actual research and not really go digging deep to find it, this is going to piss you off. This is going to make you hate men even more. Okay. Then we're going to go to the last one. Okay. I just went ahead and did the definition of feminism. The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. The inclusion of all these women in modern art history textbooks shows the impact feminism has had on the field. Okay. This has actually changed because feminism was the advocacy of men and women's rights on the basis of equality and of the sexes. Okay, this has actually changed. They have changed the definition of what feminism is and what it has been, because I myself, as a man, would gladly call myself a feminist and believe in feminism 100% because we should be equal in things that we do. Now, feminism does not remove your self-worth from the equation that so many people try to make it seem, as if it makes it seem like a woman is worth less than the man. That is actually has nothing to do with feminism whatsoever. But that is where this has changed, because what it is doing is trying to make it seem as if the woman's rights is less than that of the man's. Okay. Why did I want to do this tonight? Well, there's a couple of reasons. The arguments, the fights, at some point in time in the world we live in, you just start to look at things, and when you look at things, you start to see patterns. And one of the biggest patterns that I'm seeing outright is just how, as a society, we are currently failing. Okay, we are currently failing. This men versus women is honestly it's just bullshit, and we need to get to a point to where we change it. Now, how do we change it? First thing we have to do is we have to change the narrative. Okay, we have to understand the world that we live in and what is actually going on around us. And one of the biggest things that's going on around us is they have no problem keeping us at odds with each other, having us argue and fight over semantics. Something else that we have to do as human beings is we actually really need to start taking accountability for our own actions. And in order to take accountability for our actions, we have to look at the decisions that we are making. Which brings me back to this. Why is it that in an arranged marriage, the divorce rate is at 4%, but if we look at our current divorce rate where we choose who we want to be with, it is at 40 to 50%. Okay, and above. So we're gonna go with the bottom of that and just say 40% plus. 40% plus. Honestly, it's 50% plus, but I'm gonna go with their January 9th numbers and say 40. How is it we get to choose who we want to be with? We have more freedoms than what we've ever had in our entire lives when it comes to who we choose to have children with, who we choose to grow old with, who we choose to be happy with, who we choose to enjoy life with. We have all of these different things that are benefiting to us as human beings, and we are making a total mockery of what we could actually have in life. Now, there's multiple reasons for this, and one of the biggest things that I'm the biggest proponent of our issues today is going to be the lack of actual religion. See, we can become what is now called Christian by choice, but in the choice that we make, there's nothing holding us accountable to law because according to so many people, Jesus did away with the old law and gave us a new law. Well, the first thing that I tell everybody to do is where in the hell did the name Jesus come from? Because the J has only been around for a couple hundred years. First and foremost, look at that. You can't have a name where the letters weren't even created yet. All right. Secondly, we put money above everything. Money is above everything in the world that we live in. Everything is about a bag. Everything is about getting rich. The man that you choose to go with is because he has to be rich and take care of you and give you this said lifestyle. There are so many different reasons why we are failing. Like, in all honesty, hit the chat if you still believe in love. Hit the chat if you still believe in love. Like, how many people still believe in love? Love alone. Give a thumbs up, give a like, do whatever. But how many of you guys actually still believe in love? Okay. Now let's remove that from there and go with tradition. Where is the want of family tradition, of where you know that your last name's legacy is going to continue based off of the decisions that you make. The decisions that you make determine your family's future. See, so many people today talk about building legacy. I want to build legacy. I want to create generational wealth. Don't you need a generation to give it to? Don't you need to create family? Don't you need to be having children and raising that children with a man um, as a family to actually create something to give to them? Like, isn't that the whole premise of the life that we live and what we are here for? I got one thumbs up coming from Dead Deer on YouTube. Appreciate that. See, where we are at today makes it extremely, extremely hard to even think about moving forward in life where the person that you have aligned yourself with isn't even walking the same path as you. Let me say that again. It is hard to fall or give yourself in life to someone when you don't even know if you're walking the same path in life. So many people swear they want to be married, but if you ask what is the true reason of why you want to be married, they can never answer the question. It's for the sake of just being married. Of why? But being married alone is not the answer because there are responsibilities that come with said marriage that so many people are overlooking and or looking past. See, marriage is one very small portion of being married. Duty is a huge portion of that. See, our grandparents had this thing called duty. And duty is what kept them together regardless. Even though she knew Grandpapa, Papa, PP, whatever his name was, Grandpa did some crazy ass shit. Grandpa was a Rolling Stone. Grandpa had kids on the other side of the city. Grandma knew about it. And the crazy part about it, this is before social media. So it still got to her, but she stayed with her man. She did not turn her back on him. Now, I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that it's right, but what I am going to say is she understood duty and she stood by her man. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you look at our grandmothers, our actual grandmothers, our old ass women grandmothers, for the most part, after granddaddy died, a lot of them, the majority of them, did not go get married. They did not try to replace him with someone else. They stayed right where they were at. Why? Because he gave his life, his entire life, for her, to benefit her 100%. The world we live in is lacking that today. Lacking that 100% today. Divorce ruins people. And the way it's sold is divorce ruins men. And you know what? As long as that's sold, I want you to understand something. We are logical creatures. We're the most logical. Women are emotional. When you tell men that divorce is going to ruin me, I'm less likely to ask someone to marry me. Especially if I have earned something, achieved something, created something, become a good part of this society. Life as a man is already hard enough than to be torn down by the person that swears they're supposed to stick and stand by you for the rest of your life. It is a very hard decision to make. All right. Again, phone lines are open 602 736 6660 if you want to chime in. Also, the chats on all platforms are wide open for you to chat in. If you want to add your 2 cents or let your voice be heard, it is totally up to you. So we are at a crossroads in life right now where we have to ask ourselves, where are we going and what are we doing? When you look at relationships today, you have to ask yourself, where are we going and what are we doing? When I say where are we going and what are we doing, that has everything to do with where we are at today in dating, relationships, love, and marriage. Okay? Again, this is our current divorce rate. This is where we are at. We act like this is the most beautiful thing in the world. This is where we were. And I can't even say this is where we were because the arranged marriages, this is actually 2023 in the United States. In the United States right now, arranged marriages, wherever the hell that's happening at, it still has a divorce rate of 4%. How do we get our regular marriage rate to that? What do you think is the current issue of relationships today? And I'm asking this to everyone that is watching. What do you think changed where we had a society of men and women in partnership, growing together, living together, and loving together, to a world where today, at the end of the day, we absolutely hate each other? It's men ain't shit, men ain't shit, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, women ain't shit, women ain't shit. Hold this, fuck boy that. How did we get to that? When at one point in time, this entire country was built on love, respect, decency, religion, and family. How do we get to where we are at today? Six zero 736 if you want to call in. Or go ahead and chat in your answer. Okay? My main question now for a lot is going to be, now that we have seen the change and we're currently in the climate where there has been a change in relationships, a change in love, a change in the dynamic of the home, how do we get back to where men and women come back together and become one? How do we fall back in love with each other, with family, with tradition, with things that we used to have that we no longer have? So I'm going to pull this little chart back up real quick and just go over it. For anybody. So, currently today, arranged marriages is at a 4% divorce rate. Okay? When we go through and choose who we want, we are divorcing 40 to 50% for first marriages, 60 to 67% for second marriages, and if you make it to third, good luck, because that's at the 70-80% range. Okay. The marriage rate is 34 for every 1,000 people. 34 for every 1,000 people is the current marriage rate. Okay. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission was signed into bill in June of 1963, which makes discrimination on account of sex for wages pretty much it's illegal. It is against the law. Also went for wage gap. Says currently that women are earning 77 cents for every dollar earned by not men, but unfortunately the white man. Okay? This does change it, because when it is all men, due to the fact that most men are, the average man earns $37,000 a year, which is extremely low. Extremely low. The average man earns $37,000 a year. The average black man earns $32,000 a year. And it actually goes down from there. Okay? And then it went to feminism and what feminism actually is and how this has changed. It is no longer about equal rights for both men and women. It is advocacy of just women's rights. So if you're tuning in, that's where we are at right now. And it is the men versus women question and what changed. How do we get to where we are at today, where relationships suck, marriages suck, dating sucks, parenting sucks, everything seems to just suck. So what I would like to do is I would like for people to actually come together and have the conversation of how do we fix this? See, what I hear a lot from so many people is the bitching and the complaining about it and how it sucks. So guess what? If it sucks, let's problem solve. Let's figure out how to make it no longer suck. See, men and women, well, as far as I know, we're not going anywhere. So since we are not going anywhere, isn't it about time that we just go ahead and stop complaining and start fixing whatever the issue is? The world we live in owes us nothing, but we do owe ourselves everything. So if you're waiting for the world to just fix itself, but you don't do any of the work, understand there's a good chance that nothing is going to happen for you. Now, the moment we decide to do the work is the moment that everything actually changes. What has to change first? Well, I can't answer that for everyone. I can only speak on my behalf. This podcast is part of the change because I'm actually trying to bring about having the conversation about things such as this that need to actually change. We need to come back together as human beings and probably reevaluate what's most important to us. So if we go with this generational wealth conversation that happens so many times, I mean, as a dating man, and you go out and you meet women and you hear about, well, I want to do this and I want to create generational wealth. Well, great. Men, I'm going to say to you, start asking them what that means. Ask them what their plan is. I'm going to tell you from experience, they don't have one. These are buzzwords. It happens a lot. The conversation then goes on deaf ears because unfortunately, to even know what generational wealth is requires, well, a fucking plan. And so many people are out here doing everything other than planning. How do we bring back the family dynamic? Well, whenever you watch this video, it's Sunday. This is my slowest night. Just gonna be honest. When you watch this video, Go to the comments and give your 2 cents of how you feel like you could make change. If you're currently watching this, well, there is a chat. Go to the chat right now and give a brief description of what you feel like you personally could do to make change. See, this is the point of accountability. First thing we have to do as human beings is we have to be accountable to our bullshit. And a lot of us just aren't accountable to that. What we actually love to do is point the finger, but we never actually like to take blame for our own role in this society. See, I already fucked up by having 2 baby mamas. I can't change that. But what I can do is I can be an amazing father to the children that I have and be a part of their lives and raise them and teach them how to be husbands and wives. It is my duty to find a proper mate that I can show them what it actually looks like. Because children don't learn from us telling them, they learn from what they see. So I have to show them what a happy woman looks like and what a happy dad looks like. That's my role. That's where I'm at. It seems almost logically impossible just due to the fact that, unfortunately, the people that believe in marriage only believe in being married, not taking care of themselves. They're looking for someone that basically is going to take care of them. So it's being done in bad faith. It's in the wrong reasoning. Which is why marriages tend to end. See, as men, we're smart. So we start to see what is actually happening and what is going on. Okay, a lot of men suffer in silence. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard that before. But when a man leaves a woman, that's because he's seen something in her that he knows you're not here for the right reason. So the moment you show me you're not here for the right reason, yes, we evacuate rather quickly, as a matter of fact, and or get rid of you or give a reason for you to get rid of us. It's just a fact. It happens. Okay? So what we do is we just have to be smarter as a whole and make better decisions. How do we make better decisions? If your parents are still alive, talk to your parents. It's the only thing I can say. Why? Well, arranged marriages end at 4%. Arranged marriages happens because your parents knows what's best for you, and they're not out chasing the dollar. And I mean parents. That means both husband and wife, man and woman, father and mother. Now I understand a lot of people don't have that dynamic. So go to your grandparents if they're still alive. The bad part is in dating today, people are older rather than younger because the younger crowd has been told that they need to go out and experience life and go through all these different things and travel the world, etc. We're setting them up for the biggest fucking failures in life. Go be the biggest failure you can possibly be. Go create a bunch of trauma, date a bunch of people, have a bunch of wild, crazy sex, and then go into a relationship hurt as hell, because that's exactly what that means. That's all that is. I know I'm raining on people's parades. My bad. But I'm going to always be honest here. I'm always going to tell the truth. I'm never going to sugarcoat because it benefits no one. We live in a world where we've been getting very, 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 very horrible and bad advice. And we give the exact same very, very, very bad, horrible advice. And at some point in time, it has to change. Hence, trying to change. So, what I would like for everybody to do again is evaluate men versus women. Ask yourself what changed and how can you change it to get men and women to where we become teammates again, where we end up on the same side, where love, family, tradition, and well, the epitome of what generational wealth can turn into. Because the way we're going right now, there is no such thing as generational wealth. Generational wealth is just that. It's a buzzword. It's a talking point. It's something that means nothing because no one's doing the actual work. And the main ones speaking on generational wealth are the main ones that are doing no work towards that. And I'm not talking bad about women or saying some shit, but again, as a man who has dated plenty of women, this is a beautiful buzzword that loves to come out of you guys' mouth. But I've asked you over and over again, what is generational wealth and how do you get to it? Crickets happen. Call me the asshole, but when you're saying things and you get questioned about them and you can't answer those questions, it just lets me know you're just repeating something you heard from someone else and it sounds great, but it means nothing. The thing about it is men usually, typically, that is one of the things that we look forward to is giving something to our children. That is generational wealth. All right. Over history, even to modern day, to where we are at today, the majority of people that have filled out wills and leave something to their children and or their spouses happens to always, almost always, 89% of the time, be a man. There have been more millionaires made, female millionaires made, from either the passing of men and or divorce than working millionaires. Same thing when it comes to billionaires. More husbands have been responsible for making their wives billionaires, again through divorce, than anything else. The outliers today are going to be Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, and Oprah Winfrey. Simple as that. So, I'm not going to keep you guys tonight. I really wanted to put something to where it gets people thinking and asking questions, and hopefully this will spark a conversation and or debate among actual adults. It is men versus women. What changed? And how can we fix it? Whatever changed, can we change it back? Marriage, huge proponent and key to the failure of our society. Divorce is running rampant. Money. There's more emphasis on money today than ever before. While at the same time, we are the poorest we have ever been in history. Make that make sense. Tradition. There's no longer traditional values in our current society. What are you living for? Who are you living for? What are you working for? And who are you leaving it to? Put all of these different things together and ask yourself, how can you fix it? How can you become a better part of this current society to make it better, not for you, but for the next generation of you? aka your children. The answer, whether we like it or not, is going to always be us coming back together as men and women. So, this is what I want you guys to think about. Have these conversations. Hit up the comments. Let's hear some of your answers in the comments. Leave them for other people to read. Let's work together as a society, as humans, to get to the next level. That is the least we can do. The least we can do. So, with that, I want to say thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sunday Night Live. I'm your man, Bailey, a.k.a. Mr. Go.